Hey, I just finished a weight workout. Thought I would do a video about burnout.
I just wanna go to the deep end. I just wanna go to the deepest end. No planning, no stress, and no work, no trying to fix what we are. Just go to the deepest end.
I'm going to link a couple of videos in the description box with others who talk about burnout and what causes it and that sort of thing.
The term burnout goes back to 1974, when psychologist Herbert Freudenberger used it in a paper to describe his colleagues at a free health clinic in New York City. He noticed that over time, many of the doctors, nurses, and social workers tending to patients became less motivated and weren't doing as good of work, even though they cared a lot.
And I find it very interesting because it's not necessarily doing, being overloaded, doing too much. I mean, that can be part of it for sure, but it's more about, like, if we're talking about, at the office or, any kind of work environment, it can really be a lot more about your boss, how they treat you, what the overall work culture is like.
And this is that we have found that the fit or the match or the balance or imbalance between a person and the job, the person and the environment in which they're working, is critical for burnout in 6 areas. They are not listed in order of importance. They are listed in order of which one people think of first. Workload is the one that everybody thinks of first. It must be they're working too hard. But there are 5 other areas that turn out to be just as important in some ways, and so they can offer an alternative way to approach the problem.
And so work culture is very important for a healthy relationship with work. Now, I feel like I've had that on and off over the years at the same place, right? Because, people in positions change. So I would say that maybe I started out with it being okay because I was new to the whole situation, and then it got old and boring and I felt like I was going nowhere. But the real difference is not just your attitude and your ability to take it on. It's the attitude of everyone else and how responsive they are to any changes that you may propose, if you're the one who is there to help change the culture. If they're not receptive though, if they it just continues to be a wall that you're running up against, well, I'm just gonna say either they are not the right people to be in those positions, or you're not the right person for that place.
One of these is control. In other words, how much autonomy you have in your work, how much choice, discretion to figure out how to do it the best way or innovate in some way. And so with burnout, it's not just about being exhausted and working too hard and tired. It's often that the spirit, the passion, the meaning is just getting beaten out of you as opposed to being allowed to sort of thrive and grow.
In any case, even if you're not there to help make change, you're just there and the culture is bad and it has been turned bad over the years, you're going to feel burnout. You're not going to want to go there anymore. You're not going to, everything is going to feel like a heavy load.
But most agree that it has 3 main parts. The first is exhaustion, being super tired and emotionally drained. Essentially, after giving your all for a while, you don't have much left to give.
Because of all of the negativity surrounding you. Typically, when people are surrounded by negativity, they join in on the negativity. It's not popular to tell people, oh, it's gonna be okay, or look on the bright side. It's usually not a welcomed attitude with people who are negative.
Second is what psychologists call depersonalization or cynicism. You detach from your work and your coworkers or clients and have a negative attitude.
It's important to have something in your life besides work to keep you going. You are not what you do. There is a lot more to you than your career.
It's interesting because it echoes things that was happening in Japan not too many years ago, where they're talking about karoshi, death from overwork, heart attack, strokes. Now they have a term, karoshijitsu, which means death, overwork, but suicide.
Things are fine for me at my work currently. You know, like I said, I've been up and down. I'm more on the upside right now of things. You know, I've had it where I didn't want to go in, and I've had it where, 8 to 5, I'm out of there. There was a period before I ever became a manager that I was working for this new HR manager who I felt like she was very inspiring to me.
Reward. People think of things like salary, benefits, perks, etc. We're finding in the research that social reward is also sometimes more important, that other people notice, that they appreciate what you do and let you know that you've done something that's really meaningful. Community refers to the workplace. These are all the relationships you have at work with other colleagues, your boss, clients, whoever. And are those relationships functioning well? Are they supportive? Do you trust? Do you have ways of working out disagreements and figuring out how to move forward, work together well on teams, etc.?
Even though there were a lot of things wrong, even though there was a lot to fix, I was energized and I worked a lot of hours. As a matter of fact, I got into this habit where if I couldn't sleep and it was 1 o'clock in the morning, I would get my laptop out and answer some emails and, do some paperwork and, some data entry in the middle of the night. Or I would set my alarm for 4 a.m. so I could, get a piece of a project done before I got to work that morning. It was nuts. I'd never been like that before or since.
Fairness, this turns out to be a real important one, is whatever the policy is, whatever the practices are here in this place, are they fairly administered in terms of who gets the opportunity? Are there glass ceilings or discrimination or other things that block people from moving forward when they should have that chance? And finally, sometimes this turns out to be one of the most important, is values. This is meaning. This is why, what is it? Why am I doing this? Why am I here? What do I care about? What is important to me in terms of what I think is important for our society, the contributions I make, and so forth.
So in that vein, I want to talk about my extracurriculars here. My video making, my writing, my habits, all these things that I've been announcing. Hey, I'm working on this and this, I'm gonna write, I have these things that I do. I'm still going to do them. I still work out. I still am working on the healthy part of my goals. And I'll do another habit update video in March, probably. But I'm noticing that I'm slacking. The last couple of weeks, I've just come home and crashed in my chair back here, my green chair, and I've missed workouts. I've probably eaten some things I should be staying away from at this point. I don't feel inspired or very energized with my videos currently. It's been 6 months I've been doing this, which in the YouTube world isn't really that long. I really want to see more happen. I don't know.
Capping off the trio is a lack of accomplishment or efficacy. Mostly, this means you begin to doubt that you're doing your job well. How these three components come together to create burnout varies a lot.
I'm gonna take a break. And this week, I will finish out what I need to finish out. And by the time you see this, I will have already had my break. This stuff is hard, man. It's hard to stay positive. It's hard to stay, it's hard to keep encouraging myself when I don't see results that I want to see. I don't want to reach a point where oops, I didn't post a video this week. I mean, I can just start to see that happen, where I just keep putting things off and do the whole procrastinating thing. I see that happening. I see myself gaining all the weight that I've lost back. I see myself doing that if I'm not careful. So I'm just gonna take care of myself. Anyway, I'm trying to lead by example and be good to myself. And so you will also be good to yourself.
Everything makes total sense when you're next to me. Oh, everything makes total